could slide inside. Wow. Oh, why is it holding revs? I'm in sport sharp mode. Don't go like ta 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 ta. They go ta 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 ta. Wow, hindi ako ipromeno. Wow. See, in this traffic, oh, ang ganda ng adaptive cruise control. Pero masisingitan ako ni Kuya. Teka lang. I'm just talking, and if you're still watching, what the frick are you doing with your life? Okay guys, so today we're back with another Subaru episode. We'll be reviewing the Subaru WRX Wagon. Okay, so in front we got our LED headlights, LED fog lights, and this headlight washer, big grille, cute little black chin. And we also have this functional hood scoop. So all turbo Subarus have this since the intercooler sits right under there. Wait, asan yung ano? So under the hood, by the way, we also have an aluminum hood. Okay. It has hood dampers. I wish my car had that. So here we have a light aluminum hood. Here's a scoop that goes into the intercooler. And here we have Subaru's signature 2.4-liter turbocharged boxer engine. It produces 271 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. And it's mated to Subaru's take on CVT. So I know boxer engines have the reputation to be not so easy to work on, maybe a bit. But there's a silver lining naman. At least the usual serviceable parts are easy to access. Our radiator's over here. Our coolant reservoir is here, our brake fluid is there, so wala nakatago. And when you get an oil change, your oil filter is over here, so easy to access. And look, there seems to be a built-in oil cooler already. And here, our turbocharger and supercharger are easily accessible. De joke lang, alam ko naman na alternator tsaka compressor yan. So, yun nga. It looks like the belt is easy to service naman, come the time. And moving on to the side, we get 18-inch wheels wrapped in 245 45/18s. And I just want to point out the wheel design. I love the two-tone brushed aluminum and glossy black look. It looks like it's two different wheels. So at certain angles, it looks like a 5-spoke. But then when the light hits it different, you see that it's actually a 10-spoke. So it's nice. It's like you get two wheel designs in one. Disc brakes on front and also at the rear. We also got auto fold, power fold side mirrors. Moving on to the rear of the car. Now what makes this WRX Wagon related to its other sisters like the Forester and the Crosstrek is actually how the rear looks very similar. We get these pretty taillights, LED taillights that closely resemble its SUV counterparts. We also get dual exhaust. And this really cute rear spoiler with the third brake light. A shark fin antenna up top. Looks really good. Now moving on inside, it's touch to lock unlock and the side mirror also moves with it. And when you open it, the seat actually moves automatically backwards to make ingress easier. And here's the fun bit. It moved to my driving position. It says, "Hello, Chini." So the car has facial recognition and you can save up to 5 drivers. And it automatically adjusts your seat and your mirrors to your regular seating position. Since we already talked about seating, the passenger side gets manual seat adjustment, but the driver side, we get electronic seating adjustment. So we get height, tilt, and lumbar adjustment. So I felt that. And moving on to the steering wheel, we got a nice leather wheel with red stitches. We get red stitches everywhere actually. It's a bit on the bigger side, but feels good. We have a flat bottom over here and carbon fiber WRX trim. We get our cruise control buttons over here and our infotainment controls over here. And easily within reach are your paddle shifters. Super nice. For gauges, we got 2 analog gauges and a digital display in the middle. And right over here, we have our trip reset. Actually, I've been clicking this to try to engine start it, but the start-stop button is over here. So if we move back from my driving position, I see this button first. So I thought it would be, or you'd assume this would be the start-stop button, but it's actually right under here. So I end up clicking this a lot by accident. So what's new about the Subaru is that we don't get a separate eyesight screen anymore. So we get this portrait infotainment display now. It looks like a giant iPad. So with this format, you can separate it into 3 different sections. So we have our driving information over here, and this is our main infotainment screen where you can control most things. And over here, we have our climate control stuff. Usually, you'd want physical buttons and knobs for your climate control because you don't want to fiddle with menus just to adjust your aircon. But here, no matter what you click, whatever menu you open, this stays as your climate controls. So I guess kahit hindi siya physical buttons, pwede na. It's not a hassle at all. Now moving downwards, you get this really small cubby, 2.1 amp USB inputs for your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, an aux jack, and a cigarette lighter power socket over here. So here we get our shifter. So we don't get plus minus in this layout. It's already paddle shifter, so you just click it into a mode. And we also get a handbrake button over here. We also get 2 cup holders, another small cubby over here, and this center cubby that can fit some things. Now my only gripe with this setup is this small cubby where you're supposed to put your phone that's connected to your infotainment barely fits our big phones. Or there's only one configuration to fit it rather. So one downside to having asymmetric all-wheel drive is your transmission is physically under this. So I can't really imagine how you're gonna make a bigger cubby to fit our bigger phones. So this is our transmission. It really partly takes space in the cabin. This big chungus has to be over there because it's not an SUV. There's no place to put it sa baba. So it really goes into the tunnel over there. Okay, now let's look at the other stuff. Look at the aircon vent. It's so nice. It's very sleek. And I don't get to see a lot of vents that are this long. And then you also get like aperture adjust sort of thing. Then the buttons feel so good, or the knob feels so good. This is how it looks like here in the middle. Very nice. And it really goes seamlessly with the lines of our dashboard. Ang ganda. So the thing about the aircon lang is that for this vent, the steering wheel actually blocks it. So my hand gets cold, but it doesn't reach my face. So I just tend to close this off. Okay, and as for the controls, we have our lock and lock over here, our side mirror adjustment, windows, and it also has memory seats over here. So one little detail that I love about this is that when you use your turn signal, it, aside from just indicating over there, you can actually see it over here through your side mirror housing. So in your peripheral, you still know you're signaling. So you wouldn't be one of those guys na nakakalimot to turn off their signal lights sa highway. Kasi dami mo ng cues eh. And here on top, we get 2 map lights over here. And we have this seatbelt indicator. Sandal ka nga. So there's a seatbelt thing actually for the rear passengers also. So ayan. So you know which passenger is not wearing their seatbelt. Seatbelt ka nga. Alright. And we also get this auto dim rear view, so that's really easy on the eyes at night or when someone has a really tall car or they're on brights. Super nice. Time for the Chini test. So, mailaw ba ang visor mirror? Yep, I can do my makeup here. 10 out of 10. On the side, we also get a bottle holder and a small cubby for little knickknacks. Now moving to the middle row, let's go! Now onto the back seats. It's actually super spacious right off the bat. It's super easy to get in. I have leg room. My knees are super far from the front seat. And when I recline, I have a lot of headroom. So ang luwag. Also, not a lot of passenger seats get this. So if I do this, oh, recline, and now I have more leg room. I mean, headroom. Leg. So this is maximum up and this is maximum down. So you can really adjust it to your preference. So here at the door, we get the bottle holder, knickknacks holder, cubby, pockets over here. We also get two 2.1 amp USB chargers and two aircon vents. And here in the middle, we have two cup holders, center armrest. Okay, now moving on to the rear of the car, let's explore the hatch. So once you open it, you get this really spacious trunk where you can fit 2 to 3 chinis, I think. And as a busy girly, this is one of my favorite things. You can operate the tonneau cover with just one hand. See? So one hand with camera and just this operating hand. So what's nice about this tonneau cover is it actually extends all the way up here so people can see your stuff from the C-pillar. Okay, now moving on to our compartment here at the rear. So I love this flush design. So you just push down and grab this handle. So it's a handle. Oh, wow! And then if you need to work on stuff, you get this hook and hook it up here. By the way, I'm still using just one hand because we're holding the camera. Usually with other cars, when I'm doing something here at the rear, I use my head to keep this up. But here, the car does it for me. As a person who loves to chill in the car, I love that there's no lip. And I could just slide inside. Wow. Aray ko. Ilang chini kaya to? So it looks like it can fit 2 chinis in 5-seater mode. And now while I'm here, look at this lever. So it's super easy to fold down the second row. Oh! So usually to fold down the second row, you're gonna have to fiddle over here or over here to fold them down. But here you get this lever that's super easily accessible with just one hand and go bloop. Oh yes. And to remove the tonneau cover, you just have to grab it, push it to the right, and boom, it's down. So look at all that space. So note, I did all of that with one hand and my camera and just my right hand, my not dominant hand to do all that. So those small things together that makes it easy to just use one hand makes this wagon really great for loading stuff. So it's these little things that make the driving experience or ownership experience of this wagon so much better. So here's another chini for scale in 2-seater mode. Pwede ka maglagay ng airbed dito pang car camping. So I think about 5 chinis na patong-patong should fit in here. And again, I love the fact that there's no lip here, so you can really chill here at the back and enjoy your wagon. So instead of buying foldable seats pag pumunta ka ng car meet, just buy a Subaru WRX Wagon. Best seat in the house. Before we move on to the driving impressions, I just want to point out the door braces we have over here. So this really helps make the car more rigid. We also have another one over here on this side. We also have it here in the rear doors. The spin over here that goes onto here makes it more rigid in case of impact. So these small things add up to make the chassis stiffer. Another pahabol small detail pala. With fold-down seats like this, usually the seatbelt gets in the way, but look at this, it has a guide. So if you fold the seat back up, it doesn't interfere. So once again, with only one hand, you can reconfigure the car. It's the little things that add up to make it a great car. Okay, so that's it for our walk around. Time to get behind the wheel. Let's go! Okay guys, before we proceed, if you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, or follow us on our other socials. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So if you're wondering, bakit tayo nag-change outfit? It was raining hard when we were gonna drive out to do our driving impressions na. So, yun na. We had to reschedule. So now I'm in a pink outfit. Disclaimer, we'll be judging this car a little bit more strictly since it carries the WRX nameplate. So, does it live up to the name? Adaptive cruise control, so it can drive while we're reviewing. First off, the car is so spacious inside. It feels like I'm driving an SUV instead of being in a car or wagon thing that's low to the ground. So first time ko to actually na it's bigger inside than it looks from the outside. For a sportier sports wagon thing, the seating position feels like you're sitting on it, not in it. So I was expecting that you'd be deep inside the bucket seat sort of thing for a sportier car. But at the same time, I feel like it doesn't really take away from the sportiness. And the seat, for something that's easy to get in and out of, has enough bolster that will hold you down naman. Steering-wise, the steering feel is pretty light. So the whole week it was with me, I didn't need the extra heft or steering feedback that I usually look for in a sportier car. Kasi it's enough, I know where my tires are, so I'm good with it. And now for the engine and transmission. So usually we talk about engine and transmission separately, but for the WRX, the transmission is a big part of what makes this engine shine. So in normal mode, the power is there, but it's not like it's pin you down sort of power delivery. Pedal response is a bit delayed and the ramp up of power is not sudden. So that results in a smoother drive kahit mabigat pa yung paa ng driver. But don't get me wrong, this 275 horsepower, even in this mild toned down mode, you won't have difficulties positioning yourself in traffic the way you want to. Nako, the way I'm explaining it, parang di siya sporty, no? But wait, there's more. Switch this puppy into Sport Sharp mode, the Rally Bred WRX comes alive. With 8 ratios to choose from, you can really control what RPM you want to be at any given time. So you can really position the engine na you'll be at the right RPM, so you'll be in full boost agad. And to our race car drivers and car enthusiast friends who are watching, this one's for you. Diba usually in other cars, yung sports mode feels artificial? It just technically makes the throttle body OA. And when you're trying to adjust the throttle mid-corner, sobrang peaky kasi sobrang it's so hard to adjust kasi ang sensitive ng throttle. So you just end up driving in normal mode anyway. In the WRX, that is not the case. In Sport Sharp mode, the CVT tightens up and the throttle response is quicker, but the modulation is still there. It's faster to respond, but it's still linear. So you can really adjust the car's attitude with the throttle mid-corner. And one thing nagulat ako about the CVT, the shifts are lightning quick. Alam mo, minsan may shift shock pa nga eh. And in Sport Sharp mode, it will hold the gear up to the limiter without shifting. Like, you will bang the limiter. I know I said gears, and I know that CVTs don't have gears. But for the sake of this video, since pangit sabihin fixed ratio all the time, let's just say gears, okay? So here's a sample of its quick shifting and banging of rev limiter. Si editor sana ang nag-viral kasi busy tayo this week. You know, the engine is so quiet, hindi mo nararamdaman, or rather, hindi mo naririnig na you're revving na. So you really need to look at your RPM gauge. Kasi it's so quiet. So really, this powertrain with this engine and transmission combo, it's something even experienced performance drivers can truly enjoy. And I just want to say I appreciate how the modes or the power modes are here sa steering wheel and not sa shifter. Kasi ang hirap naman if you're gonna attack and then you're gonna look at your shifter, right? So with this one, you just go poop, poop, poop. And to add na lang, kasi I don't know where to sing it this, don't get me wrong, the power band is fat and there's power all throughout the rev range. The boost comes in early and there's no turbo lag naman. But I think the way the profile of the camshaft is, you still get an additional kick at 5,000 RPMs. So it's a really fun engine that rewards you when you keep the engine revs high. So if you've got an experienced driver here on the driver's seat, not me, there's still more to extract at the top. So this car will really reward you kung ginalingan mo mag-drive. So engine pa lang, masaya ka na. But wait, wala pa tayo sa suspension and handling. So let's talk about that next. So first thing, this handling, it's messing with my mind. Remember when I said na it feels like an SUV? Visually lang yun. It kind of messes with me kasi you see that there's so much car. You'd expect it to handle bad. But it doesn't. It feels so much more lighter than it looks. It's once again thanks to the low center of gravity you get with Subaru's signature boxer engines. It allows for flat and responsive handling even for a car of this height and size. Don't go like ta-ta-ta-ta. They go ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. In my head, I feel like we should be rolling when we corner, but we don't. So I'm happy to announce, even with the softer suspension of the wagon compared to the sedan, it still deserves the WRX nameplate. It's soft, compliant, and comfortable, but not at all wallowy. There's no floaty feeling even at high speeds. As a daily, it's perfect. Having the ability to not need to slow down at every road imperfection, it effectively makes this car faster in the real world compared to a track-focused car. Lalo na dito sa Pilipinas. Alam niyo naman, tarmac rally stage ang mga kalye natin dito. As for the handling, it's safe and vanilla. But the good Madagascar fancy kind of vanilla. Due to its suspension being on the softer side, it rewards smooth and orthodox driving. From race car driver to weekend warrior, the handling is something everyone can enjoy. So there's just a touch bit of understeer at the limit for safety reasons, but it's not terminal and it's easy to manage. Lift off the throttle a bit and the front grips up agad. Turning radius test. Turning radius test. Yes! Exiting corners under power. Again, there's just a smidge bit of understeer, but you can really feel that asymmetric all-wheel drive system trying its best to rotate the rear to keep you turning. As for the grip, the tires are far from being performance tires, but that's not necessarily but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Since the grip levels are not extremely high, the breakaway characteristics are smooth and predictable. You're able to experience the handling of the car come alive at lower and safer speeds. No need to be hauling ass at triple-digit speeds to have fun in this car. TLDR, it's always a fun time with this car. We never had a sketchy handling situation. Again, it's vanilla, but the good Madagascar kind. Oh, why is it holding revs? I'm in Sport Sharp mode. Realization. Onto the brakes, the pedal is a tad stiff, but that makes it easier to get to the precise braking pressure when driving enthusiastically. Downside lang is on traffic, if you really don't step on it, the car's gonna crawl forward. Nakakapagod if you just use the brake, so feel free to use your adaptive cruise control and your auto vehicle hold. Whew, that was a mouthful. There's so much to talk about performance-wise. Speaking of, now shying away from the performance driving part, let me show you my favorite driving aid that makes this car a great daily as well. So it'll take too long if I explain everything iSight 4.0 has, so let's just focus on my favorite, adaptive cruise control. I didn't think driving an automatic would be any easier, pero pwede pa pala. So what adaptive cruise control does is it follows the speed of the car in front of you. If they slow down, you also slow down, and if they speed up, you also speed up. Now ko lang din na-realize na modulating between gas and brake can also be tiring pala, especially in rush hour traffic natin dito sa Pilipinas. So, with adaptive cruise control, you can crawl through EDSA traffic with a little bit less effort. You can get to my destination a tad bit, less pagod, fresher, may poise pa, yung ganon. So, here's a B-roll of editor's hand sampling adaptive cruise control. Wow, hindi ako i-proveno. Wow. See, in this traffic, oh, ang ganda ng adaptive cruise control. Pero masisingitan ako ni Kuya, teka lang. So, the Subaru WRX Wagon is a nice, fun daily car that doesn't disappoint when you up the pace. So, when leaving the house, you don't really get that, sige na nga, let's use the other car na lang feeling that you might get with more performance-oriented cars. The WRX Wagon is not matagtag, it's not maingay. It has the ground clearance and the all-wheel drive that will get you out of most sticky situations. And it's a wagon, so we can haul stuff. I don't need to think about yung Malubak ba sa pupuntahan ko, sasayan ba tayo, stuff like that. Or pag maulan, sige lang. In other more track-oriented cars, depende pa sa pupuntahan mo, isipin mo if you're gonna bring it or not eh. If I were to give an analogy, the WRX Wagon would be a professional athlete on a day off. It's like seeing your favorite professional athlete in the mall wearing casual clothes. Having said that, if you really wanted to use the WRX Wagon a bit more seriously, you just really need to make it wear more sporty attire. Grippier tires, stiffer suspension, maybe upgraded brake pads, and you've got a winner. It's an athlete and you just need to make it wear the proper attire for the situation that you're gonna use it for. It is a WRX, so aftermarket parts will surely be there naman. But personally for me, as a daily, it's already wearing the proper attire. It's comfortable and practical, but when push comes to shove, it won't disappoint you in the fun department. In the right hands, it's still a potent weapon. Actually, so funny kasi I drove my mom to the hospital nung Sunday, so she had an emergency surgery thingy. And she really liked this kasi ang comfy daw sa harap and actually dalian siya sa dual climate control thing. Kasi usually she's like, oh, can you, may aircon, adjust. Now she can do it on her own. Yun lang, tututu. Goodbye. Hindi ko abot, shucks, ang layo. Yun lang, tututu. Goodbye. Hindi ko abot, masyadong spacious yung WRX Wagon.